Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Yeah.
Can I make you groove now? Yes, I can. So you can get this groove in the back of a can. You can make it round the world when the holes in your hand. Popcorn World. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. I said popcorn make you smile. Ah. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. The Popcorn
World. You're now listening to the Brothers of the Five. At shooting guard, it's your boy, Killer Cam. At small forward, it's Reggie Love. At point guard, C Major. At power forward, Al B. And at center, Mr. Noise, Lloyd Spence. And now, the Brothers of the Five.
Add one more plus me into the
We are excited tonight for another show, but also we're excited because we got one of the most up and coming legend podcasters in the house right now. He's doing his thing, or as the kids say, he's litty. Do the kids still say litty? Am I dating? I'm probably out. I'm gonna leave that alone.
You don't say that no more.
I'm not gonna say it no more. But I am gonna say that Chris Henderson, aka C Hundo, is in the building right now, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for
our man, happy to be here with the Five, man. I'm happy to be here, man. It's an honor, man. Appreciate y'all having me on.
Same here, brother. Here. Good to see you, brother. As y'all know, that's Reggie Love over there. That's Chad Major down there. We here, man. We coming in hot, man, right off the top with breaking news. Crazy. Yeah. Listen, you never know with the Five. You never know. I don't know what it is about breaking news on Wednesdays, but NBA and NFL, everybody likes to break news on Wednesdays. And so right now, there's a conversation going on in Phoenix with Chris Paul with the Phoenix Suns, and they're trying to decide his future. So they're saying he could be waived by June 28th. He could be traded. They could restructure his contract and extend him out. All these different options. And his agent is saying, well, whatever the options are, let's go and decide it so we can start planning to do what we do. Yeah. So I ask you guys, what y'all think Chris Paul is going to do? What do you think he's going to do? What do you think he should do? So those might not be the same answer.
Let me defer first to C Hendo because he usually has an inside track on things like this. So I'm going to defer to him first to see what he has to say.
Okay. All right.
Well, I mean, for me, I think it's going to be more about, where he wants to settle down for the last days of his career, right? So, Phoenix is doing this because I think that, people keep talking about, just Kyrie's situation. I would monitor Phoenix in that as well. And this may play a big part in that. As far as like trades possibility. If I was Chris Paul, personally, I would consider the option of LA, the Lakers, and just going as, maybe not so much take a vet minimum, but you may have to help the team out, a friendly deal, but you get a chance to play with LeBron, that something that he's been trying to do for a couple of years. He loves Anthony Davis. Just in times that I've interviewed Chris Paul, he's spoke very highly about Anthony Davis. Even when Anthony Davis is some of those trade rumors, They'll just say that there was a lot of fraternizing going on. And like I said, I just think that, unfortunately, he's had the do injuries, and you can't have a team where Kevin Durant, who unfortunately has to do injuries as well. You got Chris Paul, which sort of every year that's become a thing now for them. But personally, I think that he's going to get waived, and I think that I can look at LA, or if this Kyrie thing is not unsettled, and Dallas is going to be looking for a guy if they lose Kyrie to find another playmaker. And I think that they will figure that out. There's always been this love fest with Mark Cuban and Chris Paul. Nico Harrison, who's a former Nike exec, he was really huge in Chris Paul's career, especially when he was on Team USA. They were really close.
First of all, there's always one in the crowd that always wants the Asian guy to go to LA. There's always one.
One's already there, so.
And tonight, C. Hendo is obviously that one. I know what Reggie's gonna say.
Please tell me, what would I say?
You don't need no more old players. That's
I'm gonna say LA doesn't need any more old players. They've tried that before. Their experience is always being younger, and that's what's got them this far this year. I personally think, but I'm not Chris Paul. If I'm a team that's really looking at Chris Paul, and it's just my personal opinion, it's Boston. I'm saying, hey, can we bring him in and give him some veteran leadership on that team and can get them over the hump? And he doesn't have to play as much as he's with Boston. He doesn't have to have that role. He can just settle into a role to get, and that may be his easiest route to what he really wants to do is get a championship. Can Chris Paul settle his career and say, hey, I played this certain amount of years and been on every All-Star, every Olympic team, but I didn't get a ring? Can he be the next Charles Barkley?
I don't think he can live with that.
I don't think so either.
I think he can, and he may have to, but he don't. That's not what he wants.
No, he's a prideful guy. So that ain't happening.
So Chad, you want to go? I'm the only Laker fan here tonight so far.
I mean, I like what C. Hendo was saying because it makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah. It makes sense. LeBron and Chris Paul have a good relationship. Like C. Hendo said, looks like Anthony Davis and them have a good relationship. I mean, Dallas could be another option. Maybe if Ja Morant, he may miss 40 games, maybe Chris Paul plug in there for – no, I don't know, but LA seems like it could be. Maybe Chris Paul asked for this. It could be something mutual, and maybe they had something cooking, for the LA reunion.
Well, let me say this: whether he asked for it or not, it was going to get done because Phoenix has got to get some back. So they got to get a bench, and they can't get a bench with a dude making $30 million.
Right.
So they had to do it. There was no way this was not going to happen. By the way, he's not the only one I think that's going to be gone. I think DeAndre Ayton is on the way out the door as well. Go ahead, Reggie. Like you about to say.
I was going to. So, C. Hendo, let me ask you this question: what do you think is his best option to make it to get that ring? What team can number one, of course, forward him on the roster? Not necessarily. I mean, if he accepts the veteran minimum, will his pride allow him to accept that? Number one, and number two, what do you think is the best fit for him?
So I like your Boston fit. The only issue with the Boston fit is going to be this: where does Marcus Smart fall in this equation? You would have to clash the egos on that because Marcus Smart has sort of sacrificed throughout his whole career, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And at this point, he's like, all right, we brought in Brogdon. Mm-hmm. You got Brogdon on the roster, and you want to add Chris Paul. I don't know how that works as far as like the dynamics. I think that from a leadership standpoint, you're 100% on that. I think that would definitely be an ideal situation. And, another team I wouldn't rule out would be to go back to the Clippers. I think ideally, like the ideal is this, man, like ownership, as Steve Ballmer stated when they had let Chris Paul go, but doing that whole the pre-Donald Sterling thing was sort of like, we love Chris Paul. It was just an unfortunate thing that we were trying to rebuild and they were tuning up with Kawhi and them. And that team has always had an issue of having that sort of floor general. I mean, they tried the Reggie Jackson route. They tried, different routes. They just haven't had the guy. Now, with them, it's more of a health issue as well because you got two of them that can't stay on the floor, and you got to add a third one. I personally think one team that he should consider and come off the bench would be Milwaukee. And the reason why I say this is this, man, with Milwaukee's history of guys like Drew having the timely injuries, different things happening, I think he fits that mold perfect. I think that, like, the situation there with Giannis and just different things, they just want to add on to, like, build that team versus some of these teams. And to me, he could be the perfect six-man off the bench, the general guy that, you know, gives some relief to Drew Holiday, who was worn down throughout the years. But to your Boston thing, I think it's great. It's just you're going down with talk with Marcus Smart. And I just think that that's going to be nasty.
Yeah, I don't think the Marcus Smart, Chris Paul thing works at all. I mean, it makes for great. It's great for guys like us who are in the media, but it's a horrible mix. But I'm gonna go back to the Lakers just for a second because I'm sure that's what y'all thinking. I've had time to think about this the last 2 hours since the story broke. This actually could work only for this one reason, Reggie. Just one reason, and it's very similar to what he just said about Milwaukee. If he is not required to be the man, then it could work. And matter of fact, having a healthy Chris Paul closer at the end of games and at the second half of playoff series could be actually really amazing if it's that kind of role. So to me, this comes down to two things. What you said, Reggie, is he willing to take some less money, but also is he willing to kind of make? Because see, Dennis Schroeder's a decent defender now. Imagine if he's being mentored by Chris Paul on a daily basis. This kid could go to a whole nother level. So I kind of like it for that reason. But it leaves us having to do another move. That's the only problem I don't like.
Right. But here's the thing. Yeah. Can Schroeder and him mix? Because that's different personality as well also.
I think so.
But Schroeder's not the leader of a team. He's just he knows his role. Yeah. And so I think with Chris Paul with LeBron technically leading it and AD kind of whatever leadership thing he has in that team, I think both Chris and Dennis would kind of get in line with that. And then Chris knows this is it. Ain't no other moves after this. So whatever this move is, whether it's Boston, LA, Dallas, wherever, this is the last hurrah. So, or the last dance. See what I did there? So I kind of like it from that perspective. But I'll be honest with you, I don't love it. I don't love it because, like you said, Reggie, it makes us old. My God.
Older.
Yeah. The best part about the deal is we get younger. And if he'll take, I'm sorry, we don't get younger. The best part about the deal is if he takes the league minimum. And if he does that, or the veteran minimum, if he does that, now we got some money to play with. Now we can be a little strategic with that 17th pick now. We can there's some flexibilities there. If that happens, then I'm kind of excited. But
do you think he'll be able to motivate AD too? You think?
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's the ideal guy because not only the coaching staff caters to what he's good at. I mean, you deal with a guy like Phil Handy, who technically is actually available for every team. Phil Handy would come back to the Lakers off the strip of having Chris Paul, another veteran. Miles Simon, who Chris Paul is close with. So, like, there's some dynamics there outside of LeBron. And also, once again, LeBron is getting older. The wheels are getting older. You're going to need somebody else out there that can sort of man the offense. You don't want Austin Reeves man the offense all the time, right? No. I mean, Schroeder's a guy that, we know when he gets hot. He looks good when he plays overseas in the FIBA games. But you know how he gets when it's here, right? And these rules. So, I just think that, like, for Chris Paul, man, I think it's going to be comfort. And just at the end of the day, man, little Chris is growing up. He's going to be in middle school, going towards high school. He's going to try to find somewhere where he's close to his kids, right?
He's not going to want to leave LA if he doesn't have to.
Yeah. So, it's a match made in heaven for them.
And honestly, Hendo, that might be the greatest factor of all of the things that we've discussed. Yeah. Can I go to the Lakers and play a role and still be there for my kids' games and my wife? We ain't got to pick up and move and all that stuff. So that may be the greatest factor of all the things.
And don't worry about Austin Reeves being there. You know, he's going to be in San Antonio. So that conversation should not be a part of this right now.
I thought we had a drop for that. We used to
No,
Then
I'm
we
giving
got
a hard time, G. I'm just giving the Lord a hard time.
No. No, I understand what you're doing, Reggie. I do.
Hey, look, I didn't shook him up. He forgot my name. I didn't shook him up that much.
No. It's not that. It's just I was looking for the drop. We have a drop. I thought I had put it in the 5. There it is. Here it is.
Hell no, can't do that.
I just want to make sure
I'm just
I had a proper response for you to that Austin Reeves situation. Okay, so that's what's going on, and that's going to definitely be a hot topic for the foreseeable. Listen, don't nobody do drama like the NBA, and this is going to be a really intense next 3 or 4 weeks here to see what happens with some of these players. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the NBA Finals resumes tonight. It actually resumes in about 9 minutes, and I asked you guys what y'all think about the finals so far.
Well, I'm glad it wasn't. I'm glad it's not a 2-0 or no blowout or no different. I'm glad it's 1-1. I definitely think it's going to be more competitive now because everybody's going to try to vie for that home court, and I think we got a series now. So I like it so far.
We had a series before it started, despite some of the vitriol that was spit on this particular show. I felt like, listen. But I told y'all it was listen, man. I don't have an explanation how Miami's pulling this off. I just know they're pulling it off, and they're gonna keep pulling it off. They just don't. They're like Terminator 2. I just watched that the other night just to remind myself that dude wouldn't die. You shoot him in the chest with a 12 gauge, and he blink at you and get up and keep coming. That's
the Lakers finally died.
Wow.
I mean, you said that too.
Wow.
You said that. You said the same thing too. So I'm just telling you what you said.
Reggie choosing violence today. He choosing violence.
But I got clips over here too, Playboy. No.
I'm just saying what you said. I told you. I'm saying, well, your word wasn't right the last time. I'm trying to figure out which Lord am I talking to? Am I talking to last round Lord or this round Lord? Who am I talking to?
Well, let's go back and see my words. Did I not say that they were going to have to start Kevin Love and that would have an impact? I think I did. Did I not say they had to shoot a lot of threes in order to win this game? I think I did. Everything
you told me the Lakers were winning 5. You told me the Lakers winning 5.
Well, listen, players get it wrong sometimes, but we also get it right sometimes.
Yeah, okay.
So I was the one saying, let's go. If we're doing revisionist history, let's all go all the way back to where I said they were going to beat Sacramento, and somebody else said they would. Or that, I mean, not Sacramento. I said Golden State would beat Sacramento. I got that one right. I got Lakers over Memphis. I'm doing okay, Reg. I'm not dying in the playoffs.
You're saying the obvious. Everybody picked that one, Lord.
Not everybody picked that, Reggie. Not everybody picked that Golden State was going down, Reggie.
You know, it's funny. I'll say this, and I'll say this. This guy that I had asked this same question about Miami. This is considered probably one of the 5 best players in the world that told me this. I think we vastly underrate Miami. We got to realize, man, they only had 3 dudes in the whole roster that played over 60 games this year. 3.
Yeah.
And we're talking about a team that was the number 1 seed last year, right? So I think we just need to look at it as if, like, good, when they can get healthy, they're not a bad team. They're actually really talented. The thing I have against Denver is Michael Porter. You can't be a tier 1 max guy and go 2 for 9, 2 for 10 in the game. Yeah. That's not going to work. I'm not saying you got to go out there and score 40, but I think they had a stat up, and somebody pulled this up where I think they're literally almost unbeatable if he scores 15 points or more in the game. Literally, if he scores 15 points, they win. And he has those opportunities.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the thing is this, it's not like he's the first option. It's not like he's the second option. Sometimes it's not even the third option. And to me, he has to step up. He looks lost out there sometimes. Miami just figured out a formula, let Jokic does what he do, and everybody else. No, we're not going to let Jamal Murray turn into, prime, Ray Allen or somebody out there on those opposites. So I just think that the Miami thing is, man, like, they got a good team. Now, I know they got some guys that Kyle Lowry with the contract stuff, but overall, when they're healthy, they're not a bad team. And I just think that they stole one from Denver at home. The question is, can they actually win 2 more in Denver? Because they're going to have to win 2 more in order to actually win the series. And that's where it gets a little dicey. I mean, I'm assuming that Denver takes one in Miami. right?
Right.
And
That's what we're assuming.
Yeah.
They just got to win one out of the next 3.
Yeah, and like I said, I just think that I think people, and like I said, this particular player was like, look, man, when you face that team, you know when healthy what they bring.
Right.
And I think we all got to take it with a grain of salt. They're not really a true 7th or 8th seed.
No.
Like we've seen this before. Like even the Lakers, like we joke about the Lakers. When the Lakers are healthy, they're not a 7th or 8th seed.
Yeah.
Like and I think that's what it is.
Yeah. I definitely agree.
I'm going to follow up with you on that Porter thing. A lot of times, not only Porter scoring, his defensive assignments, he missed a lot. If you go back and watch that game, he missed a ton of defense assignments.
That was really the reason why they lost.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to blame one guy, but Reggie, you were 1,000% correct. Their defense was atrocious.
Right.
It was absolutely, especially in the fourth quarter, it was atrocious. And even to hear him say after the game, Reggie, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but when he said after the game, well, I was confused, or we was confused because they would call out one thing and then do the opposite. Well, bro, you think Miami's the first team to call out one thing and do the opposite?
Right.
You still got to pay attention to the detail that's in front of you.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just going to say, so why are you listening to that? Why are you?
That's just being lazy, isn't it? That's just being lazy at that point.
I don't know anybody that plays defense listening to what the other team says.
Right. Yeah. And then, you got to give Miami credit. I know I give a hard time, but, man, when Miami, and I'm going to give you credit, Lloyd, you said this, and I totally agree 100%. The only way they're going to beat them is to make threes.
Yeah.
There's no other way that they can beat Denver without making threes. And they shot the ball. And Miami, one of those teams, you cannot leave them open. Every shot has to be a hand in their face. And if they make a tough one, they make it. But you cannot leave that team Miami open with threes at all. And they move the ball great. They move it. Sometimes you just don't know when to switch or hedge, or you got to communicate on the defensive end against them. If not, they will burn you. And like you said, man, they don't play like a number 8 seed. Them or the Lakers, they should have been, to be honest with you, Miami and the Lakers should be in at least a 3 seed or a 4 seed. I really do believe that. Oh, even a 2, so
piggybacking on what you guys said, I think, I was looking at it when Miami shoots the 3, they didn't shoot it particularly well the first game. They were 33%. Second game was 49%. So they definitely need to shoot that 3 and be more aggressive and try to get to the free throw line. Because I think that second game, I don't think they had more than 2 or 3 free throws. So I think they definitely need to be more aggressive.
But I'll say this: I think sometimes we get in the weeds on those type of stats because you're right; those numbers mean something. But where I think Miami has an advantage is in the fourth quarter. When they shoot the ball that well in the fourth quarter, they're not losing. You're not going to beat them. And they are they're not just hitting threes, but they're hitting the shots when it matters the most. Right. And so to come back from 15 down and then, have basically an 18 to 20 point swing, that's impressive, man. And I'm telling you, man, this is a dangerous team that, like I said, on paper, if you laid their names and their stats and their profiles next to each other, you pick Denver 10 times out of 10. But it's something about the heart and soul of this Miami team that makes you go, man, you can't count them out. You just can't.
Can I say this, Lord?
Absolutely.
How many teams you going to beat shooting 49% from the 3-point line?
Bruh. I'm just saying, man. So this tonight, what do you guys think is going to happen tonight? Who takes game 3?
I'm just going to reset. I think Denver will refocus, and I think Denver will play hard this game. I think, and I said this to you on the phone.
Yeah.
If I was Denver's coach, I would do this. And I told you the same thing. I would tell them to watch that Lakers 76er series. What year was that? I can't think of the year.
2001?
Right. And when
2001.
Yeah. And you remember the Lakers did not get beat the whole playoffs.
Right.
And 76ers came in and was down, 18?
They were down,
18.
Yeah. We were tearing them up.
But the Lakers needed that wake-up call.
Oh, for sure.
So what if Denver is needing this wake up call? I'm just saying. But I'm not saying they're a dominant Lakers team. That Lakers team was just a monster. I'm not saying Denver's a monster, but the way Denver's been playing, Denver did not play like Denver's game 2. And I'm not taking nothing from Miami. I believe Miami played well and beat Denver. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of mistakes that Denver made, we didn't see. Like against the Lakers series or something. We didn't see those type of mistakes. So will this wake Denver up and say, hey, I'm back on this horse right now?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I got Denver.
They wake up.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Denver. I just think that at the end of the day, this is the Mike Malone game, right? Like Mike Malone has to prove that he's in that same ilk as like the Spoelstras and those guys, right? The knock that he has always had is that the adjustments. Like they've had this stinker in the playoffs where they lose one and it's sort of like they tap out. They eventually tap out, and it's not so much of them like you mentioned the Lakers. That's a good point. Like you got hit in the mouth, right? Luckily it didn't happen game 1 where there's some sort of desperation, but you just need the other guys to show up, right? You need to tell KCP, right? This is when you need KCP, a guy who has been in a championship, won a championship. This is when you need that leadership, right? You need your OGs, the guys like Jeff Green, those type of guys to sort of step up to talk to them, Michael Porter's, hey, this is important. And you got to tell Michael Porter, like, look, you may not get the 15 shots, right? You may not get your 10 shots, but when we give you those 8, we need you to do something with them. And I think if he understands that, because a lot of his issues is the fact that he mopes. Like he gets real lazy because he's not getting the ball. We're talking about a guy that his whole life, he was the guy everywhere he went before he got hurt, right? Like, and now he's really the 4th option. So I just think that, like, if they figure that out, they'll be fine. I think they win this game, though, man. I think that they're going to figure out something that, if they don't, it could be really bad. It could be really bad because, Spoelstra's he's a genius, man. That whole front office and everything, what Riley does. They may have figured out something, but I think Denver got it.
All right.
Jay. Yeah. I mean, with the weather change and the home cooking and everything, I want to say Miami, but I just think that Murray is playing out of his mind and Jokic is playing out of his mind. And, like you guys said, the role players, I think Denver would go ahead and take this one. But, I think Denver – I think it may be a close game, but I think Denver takes this one.
I'm gonna quote my friend and brother Reggie Love. Denver better hope that Miami ain't found Big Mo. Because if they have,
that's a good
Big
point.
Mo is a monster. When he chooses where he wants to reside, sure is hard to talk him out of his place.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I think it's gonna be a dogfight, or at least Denver better hope it's a dogfight. Because if they blow them out tonight, it's gonna be this. They might be in trouble.
I agree.
They might be in trouble.
Yeah.
And Michael Porter has not traditionally played well on the road.
No.
So it's gonna be interesting to see. If I would think the key for me, if I'm coaching Denver, I'm gonna get him some touches early. Him and Aaron Gordon. I need to get them going early. Because Murray's gonna get whatever he's gonna get, and Jokic is gonna get his triple-double. So I got to get Michael Porter going off. I got to get KCP going off. I got to get those guys involved so that they'll give me some defensive want to. Because like I've been saying all along, Michael Porter is a guy, like you said, Hendo, he will disappear on you. And if he's not hitting shots, his defensive attention is very low. So I get him going early. I'm gonna say Miami gets it tonight. I think they split and Miami gets the first one, Denver gets the second. Wow. So we'll see how that unfolds here in just a little bit. Which brings us to our second question of the night. We're skipping on down the road. We talked about this a little bit, but man, there's a love fest going on. Kyrie called LeBron and met in a dark parking lot in Dallas, and it was like, "Hey man, I'm sorry about all the stuff I did in the past. Remember when I had left you and stuff?" He's like, "Man, don't worry about that, man. The love is still there. Is it still there? Yeah, it's still there." And they talked it out, and they didn't agree to get back together, But it was like, well, listen, man, can we just talk about it? And it was like, yeah, we can talk about it. So Kyrie wants LeBron to come to Dallas. LeBron wants him to come to LA. Will either of them get what they want?
No, I just don't see LeBron uprooting his family and moving to Dallas. And especially his son is his oldest son just committed to USC.
That's right.
The younger son just transferred high schools, and I mean he's the one that everybody is on everybody's map because he's 14, 15 years old, and you know what I'm saying. So I just don't see LeBron coming to Dallas. And y'all remember when he was leaving Cleveland? Everybody saw the house being built in LA. We saw the private jets flying into LA. Brother, we ain't even seen nothing flying to Dallas. We ain't seen one brick with LeBron name on there. So that's just my opinion. So.
Have you ever tried to go back to your original girlfriend after you moved on, and y'all done went on, had put some years behind you and distance behind you, and then you see each other at the mall or wherever? You're like, girl, I ain't seen you in a minute. Let's go out again. And then you go out again. You like, man, she's cool, but I don't know if I should do this again. And then you walk away thinking, nah, it's probably over. That's probably what needs to happen here. It's really over. But they having a hard time because they had such a good time together. And it looked like they'd be together forever.
Yeah.
But you gotta know when to stop. It's over. It's over. Like, you don't go buy a $200 million 5-year ring and put it on Kyrie's finger. No, you go get something else that's reasonable and cheaper and build around. Because here's the other thing. We don't really know if we build around AD or not yet. We think we are, but we don't know if that's 100% yet. So we still got to figure that whole dynamic out. I think it's over. I think both of them going to be on the outside of each other looking in and you know, staring at the glass window, fogging it up like, I miss you, man. You know,
Yeah.
You know, you got any insight on that one?
So, for starters, I just think that it's most important what Kyrie told everyone on social media. The one time I think we should listen to him is when he said, whatever stories come out there are true.
Okay.
You know, the first thing that I did was when the story came or the text came to my phone, and I reached out to the person that was next to him at a basketball game, at a WNBA game. Hey, how real is this? And he put LOL. Everybody needs a story. Mm-hmm. So, you know, 1 minute you heard the Lakers want him. Now you're hearing the Lakers that never had, you know, they don't want Kyrie, right? I think the thing is just with Kyrie in Dallas is, and it's funny when he said this, we had a chance to talk to him when they were out there in USC, and Kyrie mentioned the fact that he likes how the structure of Dallas is. Jason Kidd is the guy that he looked up to growing up in Jersey, right? Jason Kidd was there. You know, he has a lot of friends on this team. God Shamgod, another guy that he looked up to. So he felt like he was at home. You know, just from the outside looking in from like the New Jersey or Brooklyn side of things, there was some sort of like he wasn't really feeling like he was there, right? Whereas when he came to Dallas, they embraced him. Luka definitely embraced him, which was the thing that I think that was most important. And like I said, there's some sort of like structure. He likes Mark Cuban. Marcus is sort of a free mind like him. So, you know, they both like to be in that sort of like speak what I think and you better listen kind of thing. The whole thing with LeBron to Dallas for me is just about to your point about Bronny and just all the stuff that you'd have to do. Now, it wouldn't shock me if that happened because the relationships that LeBron has with the guys in Dallas. Jared Dudley, assistant coach, won a championship with him. Jason Kidd, assistant coach on that Lakers team. He has the guys that, you know, that you want. And obviously we know the LeBron-Luka dynamic, right? Those two are like, you know, LeBron thinks of the world of Luka. Now, if you're Dallas, do you mortgage everything that you have going forward to say, hey, LeBron, we may get this one out of you and that's it? And I don't think that Mark Cuban would do that. I think Nico, who, once again, I think the wild card in this is a guy like him. People got to realize the one thing that Dallas has in their favor, this Kyrie trade doesn't happen if it wasn't for Nico Harrison.
Right.
Being a former Nike guy, he was with those guys when they were at Team USA. right? He was there with them when they did the redeem team thing, and he talks about that. The most important thing that he has as a GM is relationships.
Yeah.
And if anybody could convince him, it would be him, not Kyrie. I just don't see it happen because I don't think that the Mavericks have enough. I don't think the 10th pick and a whole bunch of like expiring contracts help that. Especially at that point, you're probably telling AD, "Hey, we about to trade you to somewhere else." So I don't see
it. Give up Luka.
Yeah, and look, Dallas is gonna hang up the phone. Let's say Luka says I want to go to LA, right? And then they may have to figure out something on that end. But like I said, the whole thing with LeBron is just it's always a rumor behind this, and I keep telling people, man, watch out for Kyrie and Phoenix because this thing is making
Well, let me say this as well. Kyrie never said, according to him, that he wanted to be in LA.
Nope.
And technically, the Lakers never said that they wanted him in LA. Now, LeBron has said it, but that don't. But one of the things that I've actually liked about the last year is that LeBron can say anything he wants to. The team is not saying anything.
Yeah.
And for the first time in the last decade, our team has learned to shut their mouths. You ain't got to show your hand. So I like where we are. I agree with you. I makes for great talk radio. I just don't think there's a whole lot to it.
And if you're the Lakers, think about this. Why would you already got a situation where you have one guy who can sort of dictate your franchise? What happens in the case that if his wheels fall off, right, and then he's gone and you're stuck with Kyrie? Think about this, the dynamic we had. Look, Kyrie, we know as a talent, top 10 talent guy in the NBA. Anthony Davis, top 10 talent. The knock on both of them is one thing. When they put their shoes on to go on the court.
Yeah.
Why would you want to deal with both? Like, you got to think of the dynamic. Like, how many games are they going to play together? You talked about how the Lakers didn't play a lot of games together. How many games are all of them going to play together?
Right.
Like, especially so, like I said, I just think that it's, I love Chris Haynes. I love them guys. But, man, at the end of the day, it's always been a media agenda to say everybody wants to go to the Lakers or the Lakers need this guy. And realistically, the Lakers don't need Kyrie. They just need to get guys.
We're not talking about the elephant in the room, guys. We're not talking about the elephant. It don't matter what LeBron say. It don't matter what Savannah say. If she don't want to leave, they ain't going nowhere.
Now listen. Mrs. Paul and Mrs. James, I do believe they run their household. Now I do believe that because they both given up a lot to allow these men to do what they want to do, and I think where their next destinations are will definitely have a significant impact on those decisions.
Luxury tax. Now I will say that state income tax does sound nice to a guy like LeBron who's always had to pay every year. And if I'm Kyrie, I've lost already $50 million plus not playing basketball. I probably need to take that deal with Dallas, maybe that 3-1 or that 4, and just say, hey, if it don't work in 2 years, y'all grant me the trade that I want.
Plus, this is his last run too. This is his last big one too. So he probably just need to settle down. So, all right. Who got the best coach? Question 3: Who got the best coach? Suns just hired Frank Vogel. I can't hate on him. He got us a championship. So, but who got the best coach right now?
I think it's more. Coach. I think it's more about the assistant coaches, really. I think that Sam Cassell, the Boston thing, is going to be vastly important because he'll be able to help Mazzulla out in some things that he flopped on last year, and I think that's going to be really big for him.
Well, we think it will. It could if he'll listen to him, but we don't know. This is his first run, guy. We don't know if he's that kind of guy that's willing to listen to his assistants, and because he had timeouts and didn't use them. So
if he doesn't listen to him, he'll be in street clothes.
Huh?
I said if he doesn't listen to him, he's gonna be in somebody's TV studio.
You think Boston will pull the trigger that fast?
We were talking about that last year. I mean, a couple months ago.
Okay.
In regards to Mazzulla, because his history, unfortunately, that's going to be the thing that people will use against him next. Because he probably should have been a coach about a couple of years ago, but he had his unfortunate off the court situation that sort of didn't help him in that. And now that's starting to bring that up again.
Right.
So, but I think, man, honestly, I like the Monty Williams thing because Troy Weaver is over there. Troy Weaver is is a guy that a lot of people respect in the NBA, and he's going to be able to groom a couple of those guys over there, Durant, and hopefully Kay Cunningham can stay. Yeah. I hope that he can get to Kay Cunningham. I think that that's the key. If Kay can stay healthy, they got something they can build over there, right? And I think that he's a guy that's a motivator, man. And for him, I'm happy for him because he doesn't have the pressure of having to deal with like multiple superstars and banking on they got to be the guys and egos. Like he's gonna go to the Detroit team, they're gonna respect him. So, and like I said, Troy Weaver, who I think is vastly underrated as a GM, he just doesn't have the ownership of like everybody else to spend money. They're building something there, and I know Detroit's not a playoff team next year, maybe, but I think in a few years with the talent they got, they can make some trades. They're gonna have cap space. They can do some noise.
They also signed Steven Silas as well as assistant coach.
Yeah. And Steven Silas, by the way, if you want to talk about anything that the Mavericks had as a success, he was the biggest thing to Luka Doncic, sort of like his platform in the NBA, because offensively, he's a guru offensively. And I think that was the issue in Detroit. They didn't really have an identity. Got a bunch of young guys, just won the ball, and everybody standing still. But Steven Silas, he kind of got shammed on his job, right? He went to Houston in the middle of rebuild. So I love what Detroit's doing.
Well, let me say this. I appreciate the assistant coach talk. I do. But I'm going to stand on this Monty Williams, and I'm going to stand in a completely different direction. I think they got the right coach. First of all, he's a great teacher, great motivator. But I'm standing on Monty Williams' situation because Monty got $78.5 million, and Phoenix still owe him 21. Bruh, cha-ching and win. So that's
very much so, yeah.
Nobody want to live at 8 now.
Couldn't have a better guy.
I like Frank Vogel though. I mean, like one thing about Frank Vogel, I mean, just last year, I saw him at a lot of Mavs games, right? And he was a scout. He was just scouting different teams. He was there with his pen and paper. And I had to ask him, like, are you working for somebody? He's like, no, I'm doing this for myself. So he got a chance to sit back a year and just sort of just watch, the NBA.
I am very curious to see what the Frank Vogel, Kevin Durant dynamic is. Kevin Durant doesn't really, in my humble opinion, doesn't feel like he loves being coached. Maybe he does, or let me say it this way. He doesn't love being coached by somebody who doesn't appear to know what they're doing. So if you are a guy that, because that Steve Nash thing was a disaster. And I think it was a disaster because while Steve is very much a smart basketball player, his coach knowledge is limited because he ain't done it before. So now Frank has experience. Frank's got a championship. I get it. But you could argue that was a team that didn't need a whole lot of coaching. So it'll be interesting to see that dynamic between the two of them.
I think Vogel will be fine. I think that the thing with KD is more, as he tells everybody, I just want to hoop and go home. He's more of I think the thing that he's vastly underrated on that people don't talk about him is that defensive side. When he got to Golden State, he really listened to Steve Kerr and those people, Mike Brown, and they were teaching him they were preaching defense because the offense is there. We know Kevin Durant has the offense, and I think that a guy like Frank Vogel, who's respected amongst the league, what he did with that Indiana team, and then obviously winning the championship with the Lakers, is not far-fetched. He saw what he did with Paul George, Lance Stevenson, right? Those teams are competing at the highest level possible. If Miami doesn't have a big three, those Indiana teams are probably in the finals. So, I mean, Frank Vogel's not just some, okay coach. He obviously went to Orlando. That team was in the middle of nothing. I like it. I just think that finally they didn't listen to the players, though, because I know he didn't have his input, and I think that every team needs to start doing that when it comes to these players. I get it. You want to cater to your stars, but we've seen in the last couple of episodes where these guys are getting the coaches that they like, and it's not working. It just ultimately fails. So they got a guy that has won before. The new owner has a relationship with him as well, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Reggie, who you like?
I mean, I like both of those situations y'all both spoke about. I like the Cassell and Boston because I think they are truly missing that leadership factor, and I think that's a great move. Cassell being a former player, a former champion, a former, to teach those young players how to win. And, we know Missoula have some past history, have some issues in the past. So I think that's a big boost for them. But I like the money thing because I would love to see what they can do with Wiseman. I think Money can get the best out of Wiseman. We're not talking Wiseman was a top 5 pick, right? What was he?
One.
Yes. So, and we haven't seen Wiseman. We haven't seen his true talent. I mean, he's been hurt a lot, and maybe Golden State wasn't the right system, right fit for him. So, right. I like that Money. He has a lot of young players and draft picks. Mm-hmm. So, it's very interesting. I'm not saying, hey, they'll win next year, but can this be a team that we can look down the road 2 or 3 years and say, hey, they're in the Eastern Conference Final?
Yeah. All right, we go to question 4. In the shocker of all shockers, but not really, the PGA acquiesced, and Liv was like, let's go on a date and just see what happens. And they was like, all right, fine. And then apparently they fell in love, and now they're getting married. So they've merged into one. So who won from this? Did PGA win? Did Liv win?
I feel bad for Rory and Tiger.
I feel very bad for Tiger.
I don't.
Well, I know why you're not gonna say it, but money-wise, he turned down a lot of money from.
How much, Reggie? Do you know how much?
Was it billion? What did it
was 700 to 800 million.
Yeah. Okay. And he turned down that money to stay true to PGA. To me, PGA saw that money, and they man. I have to go ahead.
I would get on my private plane and fly to Frisco, Texas. And I'd walk into the office and say, somebody owed me $750 million. I'll wait.
Right.
Because that ain't cool, man. That ain't cool, man.
I think the ultimate winner will be is Liv on this. Well, I'm more interested to see how both of these. There are 2 totally different entities when it comes to how they present the game, right? I went to a Liv event and it was like almost being at a party, versus like when you go to a PGA event, it's more like being at a country club. And you're gonna have to merge these 2 into like the differences of how they're ran. It just seems more lively with Liv. Liv sort of fits the new generation of golf and how they want to present it. PJ's always, like I said, they're that old school mentality. I get Tiger still chasing Jack, and I get that's probably the reason why he didn't. He wants to break those records. But, I mean, we saw the last time we saw Tiger was walk out there on the golf course. He could barely even walk. And you're telling me a company was going to give him $750 million, $800 million to be an ambassador, basically, because they knew Tiger's not going to win many tournaments. He might even be healthy. But if his face is on our brand, you win. The Saudis are going to spend money on like that. That's a known thing. And like I said, we'll see how it works from the grassroots thing. I just hope that the PGA does just abide by this new sort of set, like how golf is, man. People are more exciting. Guys want to talk. They want to be, the rough thing about golf is, notice golfers don't go on podcasts. Golfers that are on the PGA, they're never known to be out in public in interviews outside of when they win. And a lot of that is sort of like the PGA culture. So Liv is sort of promoting this, like, we want everybody to have fun, make money. We're gonna mix it up, and we play hip hop like, dude, you're on the 7th hole of a major tournament for Liv, and all of a sudden they're playing DMX. Right. Like, it's crazy.
I like all of that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying somebody owed me $750 million.
Yeah.
I checked before. Listen, ambassador, me playing, me riding a caddy through the concession stand. I don't care what it is. Somebody said they were gonna write me a $750 million check. I'll be like, waiting on that check until they get it.
I never understood, and like, especially considering Tiger's more recent, having to pay out a couple of things as we know about.
Right.
Having to pay out a couple of people. I just don't know, like, man, I don't care what patriotism or what PGA is trying to tell me about the legendary part of things. $750 million, man. I'm telling them, like, look, it was fun. I'm not catching Jack. I'm done. $750 million. I'm about to invest into everything else.
But man, look, more money than I won. I'm good.
Man, look, I live 10 minutes away from the new PGA headquarters. It's a beautiful place. I've been there. Beautiful place. But $750 million,
I'm gone.
I'm out of there. And that, man, that's crazy. But it's all about loyalty, man. I think a lot of the golfers feel like they were backstabbed and duped because they probably had this thing in the works, some kind of way, because PGA knew they were going to lose a lot of money, a lot more players. The live contracts are guaranteed. And, the man that said it best is Nino Brown. He said, always business, never personal.
Well,
I think that was the motto for PGA.
Well, let me say this, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Y'all remember the little black girl from Remember the Titans, Coach Boone's daughter, when the girl wanted to tell her about all the plays that was going on and all the stuff that she missed on the field? The little black girl looked at the little beautiful white girl. She said, I do not care. But I don't care what was going on behind the scenes. I don't care what discussion y'all was having. I don't even care that it was a money grab. Somebody owed me $750 million. I'll be sitting in this here chair waiting on my check before you. As a matter of fact, I control my name, image, and likeness. Don't show my picture on another commercial. Don't mention me at another tournament. Don't bring me up ever again at PGA, because I rode for y'all. Like Reggie said, I rode for y'all. I was loyal. I stood with the flag in my hand, talking about PGA. So I don't really care. Y'all can split the money up. Liv can write half. PGA can write the other half. I don't care. But somebody, before I step on the field again to represent y'all, owe me $750 million.
But you know who I really feel bad for? Whoever is handling the PA department for the PGA, because they're getting it right now. Because don't forget what the PGA said about Liv. It was 9/11, all this, the dirty money they paying the players with.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden you're gonna say all this, but then you merge with them. So if let's say we're just some people out here, they're looking at the PGA like, what's up?
But it's what we have all said before. If you can't beat them, join them. That's what it is.
But I understand, but that's what we think about. You have to think about the general public and their mindset. If you're saying, hey, this person is 9/11, they're paying players with this dirty money, and they put that in these people's head, and now you merge with them. You know how the world thinks sometimes. I'm just putting it out there.
No, I agree 100%. It's a PR nightmare because they
I said PR. I mean PR. I'm sorry. I said PR.
Yeah, no, we got to do what you have, Reggie. Listen. They went ham against Liv and trotted out them families and had them in front of the cameras. And what about 9/11? And please, y'all, why ain't y'all marching them out in front of the White House? Why y'all not marching in front of Chase Bank? Why you not marching them in front of all these other companies that deal with the Saudis?
Right.
Let's not be hypocritical.
They call Tiger slipping. I mean, we know about the Saudi situation with the women not being able to perform. Different things like that, and they called Tiger at the right time when he was going through his stuff and still going through his stuff, right? And he tried to do the morality thing, but like somebody told me, morality don't have a paycheck. And at the end of the day, we can talk all the noise we want to about what's right or what's wrong. Whoever paying you probably ain't doing right either. We just ain't got the skills, right? So can't do it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna finish up tonight with a question for the NFL. Interesting question, actually. Which quarterbacks, plural, are on the hot seat this season? Or did you mean for us to go through the list and pick the one from the list? Does it matter?
You can pick from the list. You can pick off the list, but mine is on the list.
Okay, so
I don't even need to talk no more. Mine is right here, and I can drive right down about 10 minutes south of McKinney, where I'm at right now, and I'm gonna go right into Frisco. And he practiced there every day.
Hey, and Reggie, I'm gonna be right in the passenger seat.
Well, just for our listeners, the list is Dak, Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, Tua Tagovailoa, Matthew Stafford, and of course Mac Jones. I would say the whole list is on the hot list. I mean, if we're being honest, but on the hot seat. But whose seat is the hottest?
Man.
I got Dak at 1, but I got Matthew Stafford number 2 because I've been seeing some Stetson Bennett tape. So
yeah, but I don't know how hot your seat can be when you almost out the league anyway.
Right.
Yeah. He won a Super Bowl. I mean, like it's not like
he
lost.
man.
Yeah,
And
he's
I
already
don't see
spot. So
I don't see golf is on this. Shouldn't be on this list.
He should be.
Detroit.
He's going to get a job somewhere else because he did well with Detroit. I think it's Tua. I don't think it's close. I think it's Tua. Miami's invested a lot of money into that offense.
Right.
Yeah.
They made the trade for Tariq Armstead, right? They got your left tackle. You know, you brought in Tyreek Hill. You had Jalen Waddle. Now this story with Dalvin Cook plays out there. The possibility Dalvin Cook ends up there to run the ball. Like they're going to have all the weapons, and they're pointing at him like, look, if you look at that division, it's gotten tougher, right? Obviously, you know, you bring A-Rod over to the Jets, they got a quarterback, right? If he's healthy. Josh Allen is Josh Allen, right? He has to perform against those guys. Like, as far as that goes, like, look, man, it's Jalen Hurts. I mean, Daniel Jones, right? But it's Jalen Hurts versus him, right? At this point. And I think that you can sort of say, hey, somebody gets hurt, a team has a few more injuries, one of those two are going to be first and second, right? I just don't see, like, Tua's, like, his situation is rough because they're going to have to – he's got to go out. And also, he has a health scare. None of those other guys have to worry about, hey, if I get hit one more time, I may not be alive, right?
Right.
All jokes aside, like, I don't know, man. Tua just doesn't – he's already had the knack of not having the powerful arm. And now he's under the weird situation of like, look, man, we put around all this talent. Yeah. We brought in their second receiver is somebody else's starting receiver, like their one. Mike Gesicki took less so he can stay there, you know, because of the contracts they were bringing in. So they got a lot of talent. I think it's Tua.
I'm gonna actually co-sign because I was struggling with the Dak thing, and I understand why you guys are saying Dak, and I don't necessarily disagree that his seat is warm. It's definitely warm. But Tua's in there, unfortunately, because of everything that he has gone through. And Reggie, remember you said this last year, this guy maybe shouldn't even be playing anymore. Like if we're being honest about his situation, all the jiu-jitsu training aside, he may not should be playing anymore. The only person that got a worse situation than Tua right now is Zion Williamson because he got too many baby mamas apparently. But I had to get that in. That's funny to me.
Hey man, we only heard one, man. We don't know about the other ones too.
Right, the other one's unconfirmed.
One in the possible, like a spade's hand.
It's like a one in the possible right now. The real question is, he gonna make a video for the second one? Like, well, never mind. Anyway.
There you go.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me get back to this. The Tua's situation is bad because it's not really in his control.
Nope.
Because Buffalo is gotten better defensively, right?
Right.
New England is going to be tough. I mean, the Jets are tough, and then everybody's they spent a lot of money on defense this year. A lot of teams spent a lot of money on defense this year. So now, can he stay healthy? Is in somebody else's hands? So you're saying, oh, I've learned how to fall. Well, I don't even know what that means. What do you mean you learn how to fall? Like, if somebody grab you by the back of your jersey and sling you to the ground, ain't no jiu-jitsu training gonna help you with that, unless you know how to flip out of midair. I mean, I don't understand what we're talking about. So, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Every Miami game, I'm gonna be holding my breath because I don't want to see that dude's life. I don't want to see another Hamlin situation. Let's be honest. I don't want to see that, and this guy is a prime candidate for it. Thanks. So, I think. Unfortunately, you're right, Hendo. He's the one that scares me the most. Though, again, like you said, Dak is for sure on the hot seat. Of course, some of these other guys are definitely on the hot seat as well. But that's the scariest one on the hot seat because, man, that thing could go left real fast.
Yeah, and I think a guy that's not being mentioned, you know, there was a couple of quarterbacks on there, but I know he has the contract that you would say, yeah, he may not be on there, but I would monitor this Arizona situation with Kyler Murray because they've already had to sort of restructure this team twice behind him. They've already had to redo this team twice. And every story that you get,
guys don't want to play with him. There's a reason. There's something that's wrong.
Exactly. And my thing is this: he's coming off of a knee injury, right, or a leg injury. So
yeah,
my thing is this: you got the coach fired, right? That ain't saying you're uncoachable again. And my thing is, you ran out a lot of people, right? So my thing is, he can get traded. He could probably get traded, go somewhere else. But like I said, I just think it's Tua. Like, I hate it for Tua, but dog, last time all jokes aside, man, you know how somebody once they start getting hit like that and they get aired, like to your point, he's gonna get hit every time. He's gonna lay on the ground like that. Remember how Roy Jones, once he got knocked out by Tarver, every time he got knocked out, he laid there like he was there. That's gonna be Tua.
One of my best friends, that's what he does for a living. He does athletic physical therapy, whatever you call that, training. And he tells me all the time, he said, Lloyd, once you open up the floodgate of concussions, the water does not stop.
Nope.
It just sits dormant until the next concussion. And the next one is far worse than the last one. So I'm nervous of that brother, man. I am so nervous. I honestly want him to come to the game and play with them little foam things on his head because I'm serious, bro. I'm being serious. Like, I'm scared for that dude because he's a target, man. He's a quarterback. Who don't want to tee off on the quarterback?
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. He makes me nervous. I'm with you then, though. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. I got to do this because he's our guy now. He's always been Chad's guy, but he's now my guy as well and Reggie's guy because
Chad's crazy, man.
I want to give him some love. If you want to see more of what Hendo's got, you can go to his page here. Hopefully it'll come up here. I think I did it right. Let's see here. There it is. See Hendo on YouTube, and you can become one of the subscribers. And he's got all these amazing interviews. He's got interviews practically every day. I think it's every day. There's the famed Kevin Durant interview from way back when. And I mean, he's the man right now. So you got to give his brother all the love that he so richly deserves. So check him out. Hopefully he'll be back with us at some point as well. And we're just having fun here, man. Listen, we're under the summer schedule, y'all. So we're going to be in and out. We'll be here probably next week because wrap up the NBA finals, get you ready for the draft. And then after that, we're going to probably be in and out because it's the summertime. Y'all got family. We got family. Y'all got stuff to do. We got stuff to do. So that's just how it is. So June and July, it's going to be like, whatever. We're going to figure it out. But we here.
Next time I come, I got to give y'all Chad sports story, man. I got some good ones on Chad.
Oh, we would love that. We love
the time that I dunked on him in my driveway.
He's never dunked him. I don't know. I don't remember this, but I got a football story.
I want to hear the one where how he became a Golden State fan after being a diehard Maverick fan.
So I'm gonna be honest with you. I think his last straw, and I witnessed this firsthand. Me and him were hanging out when they were in the finals versus Miami the first time, right, in 2006. Okay. Me and Chad, and they lost that game, and Chad looked over to me and said, "I am no longer a Mavericks fan. I'm dead serious."
Wow.
Like he's been adamant. Like, I remember I interviewed Steph like his rookie year. He was like, "That's my guy." I swear to you. I tried to fight him on it, but I was like, he's a Warriors fan, man. Like, I watched the man literally take off a Josh Howard t-shirt and say he was done with the Dallas Mavericks after that fight.
Wow.
I got proof of it.
I can't deny it. I mean, that man tell the story. He told it.
Nah, man, like
he told the story.
I've never seen somebody like, I thought he was overreacting, man. That was the longest ride from Arlington to his crib that I ever seen in my life. Like, he was mentally done with the Dallas Mavericks, and he's the one guy that, like I said, he's always been around me pretty much my whole journalistic career. And every time Golden State was coming in town when they sucked, he made sure he's like, "Man, you better get Steph. You better get such and such." I remember he wanted me to interview Michael Petras one time. I'm like, "Dog, what?" I'm like, yeah. So me and him, we weren't friends when the Golden State We Believe team that next following year. When they beat the Mavericks. Yeah. We were not friends because he was on the tendency and we called him trash. So plus, like I said, that football story, I'm gonna say that one.
Say that one.
Yeah,
I definitely want to hear it though. All right. Anybody got any shout outs? That was fantastic, by the way. Anybody got any shout outs before we head out?
Man, I got first a shout out my boy C Hendo. Appreciate you coming on, man, and rocking with this, man. Definitely excited to see what you got going on in the future, man. Also, I want to shout out one of my other basketball boys, man. My main man. I'm gonna shout out my boy Allen Iverson. Happy birthday. what I'm saying, you know, he can't wait to get his 55, turn 55 and get his 32 million. I'm sure he's ready for that. Also, let me shout out the new coach of the Missouri baseball team, Kendrick Jackson, first black head coach in SEC history.
Wow.
Yeah, and also shout out LeBron, man, and his boys, the Fab Five, man. I saw the Shooting Stars movie.
Good movie.
Good movie.
Awesome.
Real good movie.
Awesome.
Real good movie.
Awesome.
Good movie. All right. Reggie, who you shouting out, brother?
Man, first I got to shout out to C Hendo, man. Hey, brother, it was a pleasure. Look forward to having some more conversation. And I wondered about Chad and this Golden State thing. I wondered, but since we got a little proof here,
I hate that it's actually real because I know it. That's the sad part. I tried to lie on Facebook a few times, say he's a fake fan. Now he's legitimately a Warriors fan. Like he has some yellow dog. I seen the dude wear some yellow Timbs and some shorts one time.
Right. Anybody willing to do that got to be real.
right.
Hold up. Time out.
No, I'm just saying, Jazz.
Pushing carts at the job, man. We was in the parking lot pushing carts at Sam's. My man had on some yellow Timbs, man. He was a Warriors fan.
Now, hey, cut his mic off.
No. He's legitimizing you. You gotta take it.
Yeah, and definitely shout out, man. Like I said, I was down in Houston for some great soccer this weekend, and you know, it's a lot of young ladies working hard this summer. You know,
Yeah, man.
You know, soccer time, trying to get into school. So I'm starting to become a soccer fan now. Well, I've been one, but I'm really understanding all this process and things. So,
Hey,
man.
Reggie, not to cut you off, but you see Benzema's 3 years, $645 million.
I saw that. I saw that.
Now I'm a soccer fan.
Yeah, exactly. So, oh man, but definitely that, man. It's just good. Shout out to you gentlemen as well, man. Hey, definitely loving the time here, and hey, getting ready for the summer, guys. Like you said, this family the family is real.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man. All right, Hendo, this is your first time giving shout outs. You've seen how it's done. You got any shout outs?
Man, I don't shout you guys out. I mean, you know, like I said, I was excited to do this, man. I'm here right now at the Rangers. I'm at the game right now. I'm in the press box in a suite room, and I was like, man, I got to make this happen, man. I got to show love, especially, you know, relationship. Me and Chad been knowing each other since God, Lord, man. We had none of these beers or anything. We was kids. But you know, shout out to you guys, man. I'm always in the background. I'm watching all the time, and sometimes I'm able to answer because I'm probably at a game, but most of the time I'm in the background and I'm kind of cussing at Chad with his fandom and stuff, but yeah, man, I appreciate y'all, man, and you know, just shout out to all the creators out there, man. I think you guys got something special here, as I told you before, man, and I had a lot of my friends that are tuned in, that are watching, and they all said, man, we need to subscribe to them. I made sure that they take care of y'all, man. So, you know, I look forward to coming back, man. But y'all keep doing what y'all doing, man. We gonna one of these days I'm gonna be in this press box, man. Y'all gonna be here with me, right? We all gonna be here laughing, talking about Chad being all of a sudden a Yankees fan. So
yeah,
hold up.
I don't like that either. I don't like the Yankee thing either. Because I'm a Rangers fan. I am a Rangers fan.
Shout out to Texas Rangers. You want to give a real shout out. Shout out to the team that right now.
Yeah, man. Doing the thing. And I'll tell you, just real quick, Hendo, I became a Rangers fan when they were sucking. Because it was for one reason. When they was paying A-Rod all that money, I never heard a mumbling word out of anybody on that squad. Not a negative word. And I respected that. I was like, man, for that dude to be sucking the air out of the room like he is, and they not saying nothing about it, I got a lot of respect for that team. So I was very much happy when we were rewarded with do 2 back-to-back World Series appearances, even though we didn't win.
Shout out to the Tommy John injuries.
Oh man, yeah, look, man.
Hey, your whole team starting lineup pitchers get Tommy John now.
Oh well, guess what? He's already the guy.
Doing,
Chad can't talk right now because the pitcher they signed this offseason ain't played the game yet. So
just saying.
$100 million.
Lloyd, though, you forgot to do one thing for C Hendo. You got to give him get him a humble flex, man. He been humble.
Well, I mean, we should acclimate him
to
the show. Like,
I'm just a normal guy, man. Trust me, I just do my job and go home, man. That's all I do.
Yeah, it sounds nice. It sounds good.
That was so sweet how you said that. Like, you just
I'm for real, man. Because like at the end of the day, man, like there's people out here, man, like they're amazed at some of the stuff that I've done, and it's like, dude, I don't think these guys are more different than us, man. Like, they're just humans that got to give. We all got to give. Y'all got to give that y'all using right now. Y'all can be so. At the end of the day, they normal dudes. I get to talk to them, but other than that, man, at the end of the day, it's a job. It's my job, number one.
That's sweet, man. That really is.
And that was a humble flex.
That's real. That's real.
And that was a humble flex.
I love that.
I mean, we still love you. It don't change the love we have for you.
Not at all.
Hey, man, I'm just happy to be here, man. Like I said, Chad is my dog. Ain't nothing gonna stop me from supporting what he doing, what y'all do, man.
Vice
Chad
versa,
rock with y'all,
vice versa, bro. You my dog.
Yeah, I don't
too.
care. I don't care what game I'm at, man. If I gotta stop in and show some love, man, I'm gonna show some other people that deserve it. Man. So
Appreciate it, bro.
y'all deserve the time.
Well, listen, of course, I'm shouting out C. Hendo. Appreciate you, brother. Can't wait to have you back. Of course, I'm shouting out the Five Brotherhood because that's what we are. But my final shout out and my most important shout out is to my beautiful daughter who will celebrate her 23rd birthday on Friday.
Wow, man.
Shout out to you, Azaria.
Happy
getting
birthday.
older, getting wiser, getting better.
Hey, I'm sorry. Can I bag up you, man? Y'all gonna get me beat up here.
Absolutely, brother. What's up,
Brother? My oldest daughter turned 17 yesterday. Paris, gotta give a shout out. And my baby girl is turning 2 on Saturday, so I gotta give a shout out to my girl.
Nice.
Shout out to girl dads. Hashtag girl dads.
Man. Yeah. So
that's right, baby. We out here. We out here in these streets.
yeah.
Congrats.
Shout out to Zion because he's a girl dad as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, he is. It was a girl. You saw the video. It was a girl.
Yeah,
That's not shade, Chad. That's not shade. That's the reality. Is the first one.
The greatest quote I got today about that was the 2 top picks of that draft were freaks, and that's stuck in my head, and that's stuck in my head right now. And when I got that text,
hey, real talk, they wild. They some wild boys.
Yeah,
Man,
who would have thought?
Boys.
Who would have thought R.J. Barrett and Darius Garland were the guys that you probably wanted for real? So,
Yeah, they some wild boys for sure.
Wow.
They some wild boys for sure. All right, that's enough Zion slander. As my wife tried to say, I'm slandering Zion. I don't know. I'm just saying he's a popular guy. So with that being said, we appreciate y'all. It's a 29-29 tie right now, y'all. It's tight up in these streets on the NBA Finals. Let's go find out how it ends. Go Rangers. We'll see y'all next week. Maybe.
peace.
I will get you 10 when you're plugging in with the there's no mystery. Let's make history with the 5. Oh, the song is 2 and 3. Add 1 more plus me and do the 5. Yeah, we keep it on the floor. And the funk plus 4 and you got 5. I said before 1 and 9 is 10, and there ain't no span on the 5. There's no denying it.